before we get started, if you haven't already, be sure to check out my introduction video on my Project 2003 Chevy Suburban 2500 4x4. I do a complete review, including all the specifications, some model history, and an in-depth test drive on this very capable heavy-duty SUV. Also be sure to check out Part 1 and Part 2 in this series of videos where I show you how to install Infinity component speakers into the front doors and Infinity reference series two-way speakers into the rear doors. Okay, here's all the tools that you will need to remove the door panels, both front and rear, on a 2003 Chevy Suburban. First things first, I definitely want a nice driver drill. It speeds the process up. It's nice to have. The second tool that's nice to have is one of these interior clip trim removal tools. If you don't have one of these, you could use a flathead screwdriver, but this makes it a lot easier because of this angle to get things loose. A small little flathead screwdriver like this can be used kind of as a pick tool in order to release the clips on the plugs that go to the power window switches. And then you'll need a 7mm socket, and I have a bit here to go into the drill so that it will speed up getting the screws loose. Otherwise, that's pretty much all you need. As you can see, it's not too much. Pretty simple job. So let's get started. All right, let's get started. We're going to start out with the driver's door. So the very first thing you're going to do, grab your little interior clip tool. We're going to take off this triangular piece that's up here. It has two clips, one here and one here. So you get behind this and then come in over here, that one, and then make sure you pull up to remove it. It has a little clip here, a little tab that goes down behind this. If you pull straight out, you could break that tab. Also keep in mind when you're doing this, you know, on an 18-year-old truck, the plastic is old and very brittle. Just be careful, take a little extra time because these clips will break. So after we get that piece off, the next little piece we're going to do is we got to remove this door lock piece. It has two little clips up here in the front, and you just pop them. There's this little panel you can see here behind the door handle. Again, pry from the back because it has a little tab that holds it on in the front. It just slides off like that. Now we're pretty much ready to get the door panel off. There are two screws that hold it on. So I'm using a power drill, as you can see. Get your 7mm, and you have one short 7mm up here behind the door lock clip there, and then right here you can kind of see maybe behind the door pull handle here is another 7mm. That's a longer one than the other one, so the long one goes back here, the short one goes up behind the door lock. Now, from this point forward, I can remove the door panel, but there's a little trick that will make it a lot easier when you are taking this off, because what happens is when you pull this off, the wires are still attached for your power windows and your mirrors and your locks, as well as this little light down here. And then the tweeter that comes with this is actually attached to the door panel. So when you take this door panel off, all the wires are still going to be connected, and you got to get those wires loose. One of those wires is attached to this light back here, and it'll actually be easier if you remove the light and then unplug it first before you pull the door panel off. Again, pry from the back because it has two little clips in the back, and then slide it forward. Okay, so now we've got everything loose. Now the door panel, what it does, don't pull out on it because it has tabs that go down into slots in the door. So you want to pull up on the whole thing. So usually you just grab by the door handle here and down here, and we can lift the whole thing up and it will pop off. Now we need to disconnect the wires.
I just wanted to show you how the plugs come loose on the power window switch panel, which was hard to show when I was removing it because it's all behind. And you have to kind of reach back behind to do this, but I wanted to show you how these plugs come loose. So You have 4 main plugs. 3 of these are pretty easy. They just have little push clips. And you push them and then they remove. All 4 of these plugs can only go in one slot. This slot is not used, but each one of these plugs only fit in the spot they're supposed to go in, so you can't get them wrong. So those 2 are pretty easy. They come unplugged. This one's the more challenging one, especially when you're reaching back behind the door panel to get it loose. So you have a little clip that you have to push right here to release this gray clip, and then the gray piece comes down and releases the plug. And then this one has just a push clip to release it, like so. That's how you get this loose.
And then there is one for the tweeter. And some of these you may need to use your little pick tool to help get these loose. All right, now the door panel is off.
This one should go a little easier than the front door. A couple screws, couple clips. So the first thing we're going to do is get the door lock trim piece off. Same as the front door, pry from the back. And that comes loose and comes out. Next thing we need to do is get this trim piece off around the door handle. Unlike the front door, which had a tab on the front part of it. The tab on this one is actually here, so don't pry from the bottom. Pry from the top and the front. And then these clips just come loose and then kind of pull up so that you don't break that tab, and slide it out like so. See, it has this tab right here. You don't want to break that. Okay, so now that we got that off, there are 2 screws to get loose. One is right up here next to the door pull handle, which is kind of like the front door. So you're going to take your 7mm to get that one loose. Okay, and that's a long screw, is like the front. And then down here at the bottom corner is a screw that's actually exposed. You can see it. Same thing, 7mm. And it's the same length as the other one, so you don't need to worry about getting them confused. That pretty much releases the door panel. Unlike the front door, you don't really need to pull the light out and unplug it. It's pretty easy to unplug once you get this loose. So now we're just gonna grab hold of it, pull up, and off it comes. There are 2 wire switches to get loose. One being the little light back here, and then the other for the power window switch, which on this one only has 1 plug. Okay, got that loose, and the door panel is off.